walks them real early in the morning. That's funny. Time is 5 o'clock, Monday, September 7th, 2021. I call to order the City of Clewiston's Special Commission meeting. Would you all stand for the Lord's Prayer and pledge to the flag? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Just note for the record that Gary Brandenburg, City Attorney, is on the phone. Do we have any additions, deletions, anything to the special meeting agenda?
No, ma'am.
Okay. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Highslope, second by Pittman. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. At this time, any person is allowed to speak on the item that is on the agenda. None of the four of you. Okay. Reading by title. Number 1, ordinance number 2021-04. This is a first reading for this ordinance. Ordinance number 2021-04 levies and imposes upon all insurers now or hereafter engaging in or carrying on the business of insuring with respect to property insurance, an excise or license tax in addition to any tax now levied of 1.85% of the gross amount of receipts of all premiums collected from property insurance policies insuring property within the corporal limits of the City of Clewiston, and provides when said tax shall be due and payable. This is a tax that's been paid historically, and what we're doing with this ordinance is just moving forward to collecting our fair share of the gains, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Mark?
And in fact, I had the fire chief contacted the state today, and he can give you a summation of that feedback we received to just clarify that point, because we had a couple of questions raised about whether this was an additional tax. So if you could address that, Travis.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Travis Reese, Fire Chief, for the record. Yes, the 1.85% is levied by Florida Statute 175. That tax is a statewide tax. The ordinance that you have before you tonight, if approved, will allow the City of Clewiston to tax that same amount, and the insurance companies will then submit to the State Department of Management Services on a form provided by them what amount within our corporate limits they had collected, and they will then itemize that amount and send it to the State Department of Management Services. And if we meet the criteria of the minimum benefits plans, they will, with that ordinance in place, they will then remit that money to us. So it is not, to be absolutely clear what we're telling you, it is not an additional tax on the community, not on any citizen. It is a tax that is collected statewide, and the city is now imposing the same percentage rate of tax as some over 350 cities and special districts currently do. So we're just raising our hand, as I like to put it, saying we would now like to collect that money. And that money will be remitted to us by the State Department of Management Services, not the insurers themselves.
Collected from the state.
Collected from the state.
Right. So So when you
State
say
collects it.
imposing, people immediately want to go,
It is, but that is the sample language of the ordinance. Other cities have used, it was their recommended ordinance. I think it makes it clear that it is a tax and it is an imposed tax, but that tax is already being paid. We are basically just diverting the funds from the state to the city of Clewiston.
Thank you so much. There were a lot of people. There were people that had questions, so that's
Right.
really helpful.
All right, thank you.
Just real quick, when we, assuming we become our own fire district through the special assessment that we're going to be talking about in later meetings, we'll still be able to levy that same amount, even if it's ad valorem or it's special.
Correct. The special district, I'm still researching that a little bit. Managers asked me to look into that, exactly how that would play out. Currently, the tax being collected is just in the municipal limits.
No,
There can be a
Just,
district-wide.
I think Commissioner Pittman is asking about the special assessment that we're also discussing and
Oh.
working with the county. Is that correct?
that's instead of an MSBU,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, it's the equivalent of a municipal MSBU. This will have no impact on that.
Correct. And I'm glad you mentioned that. And that's a funding mechanism for the fire service independently. So yes, that's moving forward. The manager's working on that with the county. We look forward to that. I think it'll give you a good snapshot of exactly through our 10-year capital that you've seen through the years. This will have a funding mechanism in place. And we've already looked at this back to 2020 that we wanted to do this. I'm hoping it's favorable when it comes back, the study is, and we'll go from there. But I would like, as your fire chief, to tell you that assessment is kind of like a truth in lending. It tells you exactly what you're paying for that service, and you're able to take that additional monies. If you collect more than you use currently, then you can build that fund to pay for those capital items and not keep going back to the utility department or some other, a bond issue where you have to finance or borrow money to make those capital improvements. It'll all be in that fund.
So it would almost be as though it was
But
self-funded.
just for clarity, this has no relationship with that. This would be direct funding from the state to offset part of the cost of creating the pension fund. But the MSBU county equivalent city assessment, as Travis just pointed out, we're going through the study, the county is right now, and once that's complete, then that would be a separate action the board can consider for future funding. But and as opposed to this fiscal year, we're locked in to do it with ad valorem in the recommended budget, but looking ahead, you could consider that option next year. This particular item, but I wanted you to finish your thought. You were going down that path of where we're looking at for can these funds be leveraged out of the city limits. Based on our attorney's opinion at this point, and it's clear that the city can't levy that, but the county may be able to. We're talking, we'll be communicating and researching that to see if we can leverage additional dollars outside the city limits, but that'll be someone else's call, not the city's.
I got a question, Travis. LaBelle's already doing it.
Correct.
So is the county collecting that tax countywide and it's all going to LaBelle, or?
I don't know the answer. I'll get you the
Well,
answer to that. They are collecting the.
Well, we
Countywide.
can say the county's not
County
collecting.
may
The
not be
state's collecting it countywide.
the county is receiving it,
No.
or just the city of
The
LaBelle?
city of LaBelle is receiving it.
Our knowledge, and we'll further research that with the county has not exercised whatever it would have to do to collect it countywide.
That'd be really beneficial. Each city could capture that, because we're, what, 2% of the landmass, and
Well, and beneficial to the county because they're paying their 2/3 of our cost, and I don't know their exact percentage with LaBelle, but that would avoid local taxpayers, whether it be city or county, having to pay the difference currently.
Do you have any idea what kind of dollars we're talking about?
We conservatively estimated on ours, just from the city levy, that it will be more than 50,000 because we've seen smaller local governments than in Clewiston, considerably smaller, getting in the neighborhood of $50,000. we won't know exactly what it is, obviously, until, as Travis pointed out, it's assessed and they calculate it out. The state figures out how much of it's coming from within the city, but we feel comfortable it'll be more than 50,000, maybe as much as 70, 80,000. We don't know until they do that assessment. Not assessment, I don't want to confuse it with the other.
Right.
That calculation at the state level of what's in the city and what is not.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other comments?
But tonight is just the first reading, of course. This would come back if you agree and schedule it for a public hearing on the 27th of September for effective date of October 1. And it's our belief, based on the conversation that Travis has had with the folks, that the earliest we would receive any reimbursement or contribution from the state would be August of 22.
That's correct.
Yeah.
This is just step one of several.
Yeah, and we gave you a summary of the other details that follow
And
over the next
it
year.
don't obligate us.
No. Once you, now I will say this, once you act on the 27th, if you adopt the ordinance, then those funds will be restricted, that we can't use them for anything else. If they come from the state, we'll have to put them towards this or return them, I would assume. They could not be
So
utilized for another use.
This tax is only used for pensions?
As I understand it,
Yeah.
that's my
Only
understanding.
for firefighter pensions. And if you fail to use them locally,
Gotcha.
they are then put into a Florida retirement system, the FRS system.
Thank you.
Only for firefighters. There's a very similar program at a much lower tax rate for police. So it's really, from my understanding, from all the experts I've talked to on retirements, you don't see a lot of cities going on their own for this with their police, because the tax percentage they receive is such a lower rate.
And am I
They're better off in FRS.
And am I correct that they would not be eligible for FRS if they do that?
That is correct.
Yeah, that's an option that cities could choose other than FRS, but it would be a lot lower benefit.
Yeah, I'll stick with the FRS. So the recommended motion is to approve ordinance number 2021-04 at this reading and set the public hearing for September 27th, 2021. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Pittman, second by Heislope. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I'm going to adjourn the special meeting.
I think Gary's going to exit after the special meeting. So
Okay.